He has all this. Oh, well, I'm not going to share this because this is my key to power. This is my key to success, you know. So I said, wow. Little does he or she know that there's always going to be somebody else that has another paragraph that they contain that they're going to think that they have the same power or greater power.
Great, there you go.
But, you know, until we all learn to just share what we have.
Right.
You know,
That's what we have to.
That's the problem.
That's the problem, you know.
Yeah.
And
They want to keep it
and want
to themselves.
And where they learn it from?
Right.
Where we learning this from?
Right.
Vince, before you walked out the room, man, we were talking about a few key things about ourselves and what we were exposed to.
Right.
You know, growing up as young people. You know,
Right.
like Brother Tim, he said, you know, he wasn't exposed to a lot of difference in culture and stuff. You know, where he was raised up, it was kind of kept a big secret.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
and kept clean. You know,
Right.
Some of us, you know, we had the opportunity of growing up like myself. Coming out of Louisiana, you know, and down on the southern border, you experience that kind of difference between cultures firsthand.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and we had the elders in our family who were children of slaves, and
Right.
and they were the children of other slaves, and you know. But here's the thing.
But let me ask you for a second.
Go ahead.
North Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
What part?
We were down in Bastrop in Monroe, Louisiana.
Monroe.
Man, my people from Monroe.
Is that right?
Winfield and Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana.
Right.
But hold up now. But hold on. Young folk from Texas, right?
Yeah, my dad and them from Louisiana, Lafayette, and
What about the Texas part?
they from Liberty.
Now check this out.
Liberty, Texas.
North Louisiana and Texas were the original people that's been on this planet, been in America for long.
Mm-hmm.
You can trace yours, I can trace mine, trace yours. Back before Columbus even got here, we were the Native Americans that got conquered and enslaved right here in America.
Yes.
No,
That was us.
That was us.
Yeah. But they told a lie that we came out of Africa and was enslaved.
No, we not. We
They
already
sitting on
here.
our land.
We're already here. And this is what get me, brother. I'm trying to stay on course.
Stay on course.
This conversation.
I didn't want-
You're right. No, he's absolutely right. And growing up down there, you know, you're taught about all of this Christopher Columbus and the Lewis and Clark and the sale of Louisiana and all this stuff here. We were already here. We were already here as the natives, and we are already enclosed in all this what you see right now. And they saying, okay, well, when they brought over Christopher Columbus and Lewis and Clark from Spain, and the Spanish mixed with the Indians, how you gonna get black out of an Indian because the Spanish is mixing with them? Tell me something different, brother. And then you say, okay, well then they brought the slaves up. And the first slaves landed in what? North Carolina or somewhere
Virginia,
around there? Virginia, North Carolina. Not so much, because see, black people were already coming over in through the Carolinas and coming up through the Gulf, man. Black people were already coming up through there, you know. So anyway, that's how they confuse our people with your own history and tell you have no culture.
Right.
That's a lie.
Right.
You have a culture.
Right.
You have a history. You have more of a history than them.
Right.
You know, then let the truth be told, you know, scientific facts will prove that, you know, we are one people, you know.
We are one people. We
You
are
know,
one.
We are one
That's
people,
it.
you know, but
We
they don't
might-
say that.
You see the thing about it? We might have different tribes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we one people though.
We one people.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Now we might come from, you know, your one culture and tribe might have a tribal way of doing things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This tribe had it. See, that's why when you can see two people where we would get in some kind of conflict, but that's only due to that we lost the knowledge of one another.
Yeah.
It's a certain way,
yeah.
then universal. It should be a certain way we greet each other. You see what I'm saying? We just can't walk up and it's out of respect. But you're right, if a person hate themselves and been taught to hate themselves, then of course they not gonna like you.
You know, that's right.
But then the fight come in is when you try to check them. Hey man, you gonna treat me a certain way, and then you know the fight, and then y'all going back and forth. Next thing you know, because no man is gonna let another man dominate over him anyway, because we came from the
Because we
creator.
came from- That's right.
God
That's
created
right.
us. God
Yeah.
ain't tell me, you know what I mean?
That no man
To worship you.
over me.
Yeah, I mean, over me.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
but and then they got us with the religion, in the sense that when I say religion, in the sense that they divided us to where it's the same as tribalism. This religious sect think this way, this religious sect think this way, but it's one Bible, and we viewing it different ways, and then we start fighting each other over it. It's just, and we all reading out the same
The
book.
biggest wars have been raised over religion. The biggest wars in the world have always been about religion, right? You know, but like you say, they have taught you that, and you fell into that concept of that from their perspective that what was right. But we were also saying earlier that a man that goes out and does his research and he starts to develop a godlike conscience about who he is or who she is, it do two things to you. It either make you or break you.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of broken people out there still because they were trying to absorb too much of the knowledge, too much. Like I say, one man can't hold it all. So you got to be able to, to get into a collaboration with people who are like-minded, you know, so that you can share the information, so that you won't be overloaded with this part and they won't be overloaded with that part. You know, so a lot of people don't get that though. They go off the deep end, and it's you know, they're standing in the streets beating a drum and you know, and on the corners, and you see, when you are not in your profound and right mind, you are literally no help to anyone, not even to yourself.
No. Like my brother them say, if you ain't learning or reading, you dead.
You dead.
So
that's it.
You did. What it says, and now that I get understanding.
Yes, sir.
That's a fact.
That's a fact, man.
That's a fact.
You know what Brother Tim said earlier about our kids. They think they smart because they can go to a computer or talk in the phone and tell the dictionary or the computer when to pull up, give me the answers to this.
You just talk to the phone.
All we had was the book and open up the page and research it, you know, and you had to do a lot of writing.
A pen and paper, that was it. We wouldn't type in none of that.
None of that, you know, none of that stuff, brother. You know.
But let me ask you this then. What about a universality as far as mathematics, as far as 2 + 2, wherever you're gonna be 4, 3 + 3, wherever you're gonna be 6. Meaning in the concept of you put mathematics and science as far as reasoning, meaning you have this plus this to get this outcome. You know what I mean? Meaning you got to have a formula, right? In a sense, meaning okay. On a simple example, okay, you know the time it take you to get from point A to point B, whether you come home, whether you leaving from home to work or home to where you go frequently.
Right.
That's mathematics. Because you know the exact distance.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell somebody that exact distance coming from that area. Or just take you, depending on the traffic or whatever. That's right. That's knowledge you can pass on. But it's math in that knowledge. Mm-hmm. It's science in that knowledge. Meaning depending on if it's a rainy day, okay, it might slow you up this amount of time. If it's a sunny day, no traffic, you might even gain speed. If you know what I mean, you know the terrain. Mm-hmm. You know that's a universal knowledge that everybody need when they explain something to somebody when they trying to give them knowledge. Mm-hmm. You have to say, okay, well, when you leading someone, you giving the full picture. Yeah. You giving them math in it. You tell them, look. You tell them, look, man, if you have something that's gonna motivate you and you ready to move, you got about 30 days to take your first step on it. Okay, you got time to sit down and contemplate and get it in your head or whatever. Mm-hmm. But at the time get ticking, if you ain't took that step on it, then you start decreasing your odds towards the success. You know what I mean? Right. Mathematics, and that's for anybody on the planet. Mm-hmm. It ain't just special to, cause you know what I mean. Now people going back 2, 3 to Egypt, Nubia, whatever. That we, like you say in the beginning with the word, it's the word that knowledge been on the planet for thousands of years, man.
Yeah. And there it is, that universal language that you're speaking about. That is universal. Yeah.
Work for anybody who applies.
Anybody who applies.
Like we spell, like they say, you do this plus this, you're gonna get this.
That's right.
How simple can it? You know what I mean? Bruh. But like you were saying earlier on, as far as investing in even economics, it makes sense to do certain things.
It does. It does because what is your goal? What is your purpose for existence? Okay, right. You have to start there. You know, as a person, as one individual, and we as men who sit here who have wives and children, then you start to develop more of a purpose. When you don't have that, when you start now, you have what you call a self-purpose. And that self-purpose sometimes is just waking up in the morning, and then, okay, now I got to go to work, that may be a self-purpose, or I might have to go out here on this corner, and that may be a whatever it is. You got to have self-purpose, and what that leads back to? It leads back to a plan.
Right.
A plan, and then here we go again with the mathematics. I got to start with number 1 to get to number 2. And then my 2 plus 2 got to equal 4. If it equal 3, then something wrong.
Right.
So I got to go back to the drawing board. And like Brother Ben said, if I don't take that first step, towards
you won't know.
I'll never get there. I'll never know. I'll just back off of everything and say, oh, man.
They had it, right.
Yeah.
And, man, you know what's funny? They're going to bring it back around to you again.
No,
they
don't
You
stop.
right on that thing.
It don't stop.
You don't stop. He keeps shooting at you
Keep
again.
giving it to you.
Keep giving it to you.
It's up to you to accept it.
Even man. Cause see, I'm glad, man, to have y'all wisdom here today. Because sometimes it seems like you have a thought and you put that thought out in the universe right now. Right? Then all of a sudden you drive and a commercial come on talking about what you just thought about. A song just came and hit you with you just. Then it's like, wow, man, is this a sign or something? Somebody telling me something?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. It's confirmation. It's confirmation on who was speaking to you to get that thought in the first place.
That's right.
The confirmation of how you want, and then he wants you to proceed on it, wants you to act on it. But if you sit still, and man, how many times have you woken up in the morning and something would come into your mind, which would be the voice of the Creator? He would say, get up and go downstairs and check that.
Yeah.
He said, you were asleep all night, but he rumbled you in your sleep.
And
Said, check that door. And you finally got up and checked that door that morning. The door wasn't even locked.
Door wasn't even locked.
Some of the simplest
And
things.
he gonna keep telling you.
Keep telling you,
Keep telling you.
You can lay there and say, man, I didn't even get up. Or and a lot of us who are out there doing certain things that make us jobs on a day-to-day basis, you may have a project you're working on and you say, well, go do this. But you don't do it.
Okay, right.
And then it falls short. You're like, man, but he told me to do it. I didn't do it,
Now he trying to start controversial, man. Before we go, right? Hey, look, and when I talk about this subject, man, it makes a lot of, man, I done had people get mad at me. Mm-hmm. But that's just because we able to think in a manner of I can't think of the word, man. Our minds, I forgot the term that they use. Anyway, we able to put a subject on the table, right, and dissect it without getting the emotion and personal feelings involved, because it's mathematics. It's sitting right here and it's dissected, right. So we been dissect this problem, man. I believe it alone, right. Okay, then check this out, man. Check this out. In the garden, right, Adam and Eve, right. Satan God tell Adam, don't eat of this tree. Satan come back and say, well, if he don't want you to do that, because if you eat this tree, you'll become just like them. You'll become one of them. Like the gods, right?
You'll be like the gods. You'll be smart.
So she messed around, eat from the tree of knowledge. Yeah. Then gave it to Adam. He eat from the tree of knowledge, right? Then, so the gods say, behold, man has become one of us. So who is the us man became like?
Watch yourself.
You know what I mean? They say he ate the apple. Now, is man beating himself up because of the fact that he ate the apple and not paying attention to what one of us is? Because Jesus said, man, all of you God's children, Most High God, you can have the faith of mustard. You can say, move to the mountain. Mine gonna be moved. You know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Do you believe what you read? That's what that question evolves to. And that is, that's
you believe?
You have, okay. That what you put on the table, if that's what you put on the table about what happened in the garden on that very right. Oh man, yeah, that's an argument waiting to happen. There's so many different opinions, especially if you got these so-called men of God sitting around. They want you to believe one way, right? But the spirit inside of you helps you focus on what the reality of the situation was.
Okay. Okay.
And what would be the whole question, Brother Vince?
The whole question
before I
was,
say anything else.
the whole question was, after man ate that apple, and the Creator said, man has become one of us. Well, who is the us? Is what I'm saying. Is the God?
Who else was God talking to?
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
Who else was there standing there with him?
Okay, well then, that's because he had power. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So man, you saying, so man, we got power we ain't using. And then the question is, why we not using our power then?
That's right. Because and I'll say this because the first time that it hit me in reality, I heard believe it or not, I heard Brother Farrakhan bring it to my attention. You know, it is like you supposed to be running around here claiming that you have this power. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world.
Right.
He said, when was the last time you healed somebody? When was the last time you led the blind to see? You know, but we have this power. We do. We have it. How can you tap into it?
Right.
You know, because you gotta walk like Jesus.
Right.
If you don't walk like him, you can't.
And but there's so many misconceptions about who the Christ was.
Right.
There's so many misconceptions about it, which builds up a lot of doubt in our minds as to what actual power do we have. But I want to get back to the garden too, because I don't want to get off the garden.
Go to the garden.
I want to get off the garden because that's a profound question. Because it has been, I've sat down to the table with brothers and we kind of had that same discussion. And like you say, people will proclaim that you're crazy.
Yeah, they are.
And when you as the terms of the Bible is written, and just as the Quran is written, and the Bible of Catholicism is written, it all speaks as God, as one individual, but also in the same text as being many of one.
Right.
Can you conceive that?
Yeah.
Can you conceive that?
Yeah.
Being many of one.
Yeah.
You know, and
because he breathed his breath into us. We wouldn't be walking around here if it wasn't for the God.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And people want to say, well, they avoid that. They avoid that he was talking to anyone. That scripture in Genesis has always caught my spirit, caught my attention. Always. And I've said, okay, was he talking to the Holy Host? Because the Bible describes a Holy of Hosts that is commune with him continuously. Okay? And say, of course he is, because he's a creator.
Right.
You know? And everything was created from him.
Right.
Nothing was created without him. Of course he is. And when he said Adam is like us, my spirit would leap out into me and said, that's when Adam became knowledgeable of good and evil. And when he was able to make a choice. That's when the free will stepped in. Right. And he was able to make a choice.
Make a choice, right.
Now that's what my spirit jumped out and said. And I have a lot of associates as at one point I thought they were friends, but they became associates that disagreed with that.
Right. Yeah.
They would proclaim that typical paragraph, that subject was more or less taboo.
Right.
You know, no, that wasn't where man gained his free will. That wasn't what the word was speaking of, and so many different answers to him. So I can't hardly remember all of them. But one of them was that no, that was an instruction for Adam to know that he was going to have punishment behind his decision. I'm like, okay, that came in the next couple of paragraphs. Right. That still doesn't explain what was said right then.
Right.
And there.
And okay, yeah, you can have a punishment. Okay, I'm gonna say it.
But my next question to him was that, okay, if you want to say that, that's fine. I said, but here's the next question to that parable. Who did he say was like us? He only said that to Adam. Yeah. He did not include the woman. Yeah. He only gave him that authority and him that power. So to me, that means the woman was still hidden from knowledge. Right. And the only reason that she gained access to the garden, that she allowed herself to be spoken into something by something that was already inside the garden. You know. Right. But see, man was only given that power to be knowledgeable as the God, to have the power of the God.
Right. Yeah.
So that was my spirit jumping out. No. And I was trying to, put that out there to a couple of men of God. I won't call no names, but I was like, no, brother Johnson, no.
Man,